Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the 105 leFH18B2, the French Tier 5 Premium SPG, and it's located on the east spawn of Airfield. And it's under the command of Drifter316, and he's from Philo. Yes, we get a lot of Philo replays, but that's because we do have close associations with the Philo clan. And they're one of the best clans on World of Tanks, along with What University. Now, the 105 leFH18B2, otherwise known as the Leppy or Leaf Blower, but What Arty Noobs members know it as the Fifi La Pew Pew. Built on the chassis of the Char B1, it's got a 105mm light field howitzer. And that's where it gets the leFH from, Leica Feldhaubitze. And he's found his firing position, and he's now looking for the enemy. And the enemy's been spotted. Yeah, it's a T-28 up on Temple Mount. That's the Tier 4 Soviet medium. Fires around at him. Just goes over the top of him. Narrowly missed. He didn't fully dial in before he fired, but he fires another round in, but he doesn't need to because the T-28's just been killed by our Hetzer. Now there's a couple of tanks over on Heavy Alley. There's a Panzer III-4, and he narrowly misses that one too. Dialing in. There's also a Strodny Viz-39, which is a Czech medium tank, and a 14 TP, which is a Polish tank. Dialing in on 3-4. Round out. No, it keeps moving about. In fact, the enemy's managed to make it into that little alcove on this side of the map. Normally it's occupied by our players, and the Strodny Viz-39 just felt a big hit as that round went in for 147, but he's been wiped out and taken out by our looks. Now we're looking for the remaining enemy. Oh, there's more of them now, and there's the Panzer III-4, takes a hit for 132, and they lose their 14 TP. Fires another round at the 3-4, and it's a near miss. But we lose our Panzer IV-H as the KV-1S derps him. We're trying to get around into that KV-1S, but he's gone behind the rock, so he's in cover. As you can see, tanks can remain in cover from Arty. They just got to go behind an obstruction. And the 14 TP has gone up onto that little alcove again, and he's trying to come through the bushes and down the rock face, and he's made it, but he lost some hit points in doing so. And he's losing even more to looks. And oh, got him on the move. 5 hit points. First kill by Drifter316. Going for the 3-4 again. And this time he gets a kill. 156 hit points. And that's his second kill of the game. There's another Panzer III-4. Fires around in and it goes to one side. We've got a Type T-34 coming up. That's the Tier 5 Chinese medium. And that's a kill shot on the other 3-4. 10 hit points. We're now going for the KV-1S. And a hit. 69 hit points. Good strike. He's now being surrounded. He's not going to last long. No, he hasn't lasted long. And our round goes in and hits the wreck. Doesn't do any damage to our teammates though. Now we're looking towards the south because we're looking for the Arty. There are now only 5 members of the enemy team. 2 of them are Arty. One of them, which is a Grille, the other one is also a Fifi, the leFH18B2. And we're looking for sign of where the enemy might be. Now it's possible that the Grille has made it into that little cul-de-sac there, that little surround. Oh, there's the Fifi. He's been located on the other side. We're dialing in, getting ready to shoot, round out. Goes long time because it's a long way to that Fifi. But he is moving. Now that Marder isn't moving, he's a stationary target and they're the easiest ones to hit. He didn't dial in the aim though, and that's why the shot missed. You need to fully dial in before you shoot, otherwise the shell could go astray. And he's got a little mark showing it's on top of the hill, and that's where the shell landed, not on the target. So he's lost sight of the enemy, but he knows where they were last seen. That's where 2 of the enemy are. There's also an Su-85B out there as well as another T-34. The T-34 is near their cap and he's been spotted. But we're still going for the Marder. There's the T-34. Okay, he's facing off against our Matilda and a Covenanter. And again, another unaimed, fully dial-in shot. and that's why it missed the T-34, and we lose the Covenanter, but we fire in at the T-34, but the shell lands behind him. Now we're looking to try and get a shot on that Marder 38T. He fires around at long range. Oh, look at that, gets the 38T on the move, 210 hit points. He did aim just ahead of the target, enough to catch it as it was moving, but we lose the Matilda to the T-34, and we fire around in at the T-34, and we've missed it again. Not fully dialed in, you see. Okay, we've got a T-28 turning up. Now, he fired that one blind, hoping that it would get the T-34, but it didn't. He's gone around the corner, and now he's in defilade. We can't hit him. He's in cover of the rocks. Fired another round, and that's just hit the rocks. And we've got somebody in the cap, which obviously is going to draw that that enemy back, the T-34 back. There's the Fifi again. He's stationary to take a shot, so we're dialing in. Make it fully dialed in before you shoot. That's looks better. And he got a hit, and he's killed him. He got him this time. Okay, dialing in on T-34, wasn't fully dialed in again, and the shell misses. You must dial in your targets. You've got to get that reticule nice and tight before you shoot, otherwise the shell could go outside the reticule. And he fires around in there, and again it hits the rock face. It's not fully dialed in. Okay, now he's dialed in, but the target moved, and he hit the wreck just behind the T-34. And you can see there the little red dot was actually on the rocks, not on the target. And again, that indicates that the shell is going to hit the rock face before it hits the T-34. And again, he's missed the target. Okay, now this is a bit better. It's in the right direction, but the T-34's pulled back. He's stationary. Now he's moving forward. He fires where he thinks he's going to go, but he doesn't. So that round's gone. He's only got 6 rounds of ammo left. There are 3 enemies still remaining. Fires another round at the T-34, but in front of it, not on it. And he's dialing in again. Fires a round in this time. And just misses it as it moves forward. He's only got 4 rounds of ammo left. Fires a round at the T-34. And misses it again. It pulls back. I can't emphasize it enough. You really must dial in on the target, otherwise you will miss it. If you don't dial in your aim, if you fire while it's still, while you're not fully dialed in, you will fire somewhere within the... And he's just fired a round blank, and it's just hit the rocks. Now he's wasted one of those rounds. He had 3 rounds left. He's only got 2 left now. There are 3 enemies, so he can't possibly win by killing the enemy. He has to win by capping. As I say, there's a Grille out there, a T-34 and the Su-85B. So he's decided to move. He has to move now. He's got virtually no ammunition left, only 2 rounds. And that may not be enough to kill the targets. We don't know if they're badly damaged. Certainly 1 round will be enough to kill the T-34. He's very low health. So 1 round hitting him should be enough to take him out of the game. Now the other 2 teammates on his side are a Covenanter and an AMX-13AM. Well, the AM is a tier 5 French SPG. It's actually quite good. It's a 105mm gun, very similar to the one on the Fifi here. And it's got quite a lot of force, and it's also quite a mobile SPG. The Covenanter, though, is a light tank, a British light tank, tier 4. It's got a good gun, and the enemy is capping in our base. So he's very close to those 2 teammates right now. And they're not moving. Either they're AFK, or they're not paying attention. Well, the Arty's moving, that's for sure. So hopefully you'll be able to go into the base and shotgun whoever's capping there. And I suspect that that's going to be the T-34. And we're looking. And it is the T-34. And he's just killed the AMX. He just wiped him out. We fire a round in at the T-34 and miss. Last round of ammunition. Make sure it counts. Dial it in correctly and we lose sight of him and fire the round blind. Oh, and he killed him! A blind shot. He killed the T-34. He wasn't exactly sure where he went, but he fired where he thought he might be going, and he finally did manage to get a hit. Now, we don't know where the SU-585B or the Grille is, and if they come into the cap area and try to get a reset, Drifter will have absolutely no shells to defend himself. All he can do is try and ram them, and I'm afraid the Char B1 tank is very slow. Incredibly slow, and so is the Fifi slow, but he's chosen to go into the cap behind these buildings here, hoping that they'll add some protection from the enemy. So he's starting to cap, and remember, he's got no shells left, no ammo at all. All he can do is sit there in the cap. He's done 25 seconds already. Over a minute still to go though to cap out. This is one of the most terrible things for an Arty if you're, especially if you're low on ammunition, sitting in the cap, waiting for the enemy to turn up, knowing full well that the enemy probably has the gun and the firepower to kill you very quickly. And certainly that they can reload very quickly, but the Fifi does actually have a very, very good gun. The 105mm field howitzer is actually very good at derping the enemy, and it's got a quick reload, only 8 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds to go. He could do it if the enemy doesn't turn up, and they may not be awake, they may not be aware, they may be AFK. We don't know where they are and what they're doing. 15 seconds to go. This is a nail biter. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The enemy turns up at the last second and he's won. And the Grille fires, but it's just too late. It's just too late. He does some damage, but yeah, I'm afraid the battle's over, Grille. You just left it too late. And here's the end of battle results. It's a second-class tank of a Drifter 316 of Philo 2 in the 105 leFH18B2. He also picked up a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 9. A Fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He got 5. And an Invader medal because he managed to cap out and get at least 80 cap points whilst capping out to win. And it was a very close one. He nearly, if he'd actually been more careful with his shells, I think he might have actually got a top gun as well. But of course that would have required having to find one of those other last 3 enemy. And of course he did find the Grille, but it would have required him to shotgun that Grille at the last moment. And that would have been very dicey. But let's have a look at team scores. Well, he did get the he didn't get the highest damage. That went to the Type T-34. He managed to pick up the high caliber, and he did 1,239 hit points of damage. But he did manage to get 1,133 hit points of damage, which puts him second highest on the table. The highest the enemy could do was their Fifi. He managed 873, and as you know, that was killed by Drifter. When it came to kills, he was top of the table with 5. The next highest was Type T-34 with 4. And then we have 3 players on the enemy team, the Grille, T-34 and KV-1S, who each managed 3 kills apiece. When it came to base XP, it was the Type T-34 again who managed to get 839 base XP. Then Drifter 316 managed 706, and then 360 for the Churchill 1. The highest score on the enemy team's their T-34, as you know, did so well but was killed by Drifter right at the end. He managed to get 448 base XP during that battle. Drifter fired all 42 rounds of ammo in his VP there in that battle. He got 8 direct hits, 2 penetration, 7 splash. He didn't dial in on targets closely enough to actually get more hits per round. So I think really he does need to spend a little more time on patience before shooting, because a lot of those shots were obviously going to hit the rock, or they were obviously aimed not at the target but actually at the ground next to them. He did damage of 1,133 hit points, of which 1,087 were at more than 300 meters. He spotted one enemy vehicle, that was the Grille. He damaged 80 of the enemy, killed 5 of them, and did 203 hit points of damage assistance. He managed to get 100 cap points to cap out and win. And on a standard account, he earned 22,715 credits, and after repair and ammunition resupply, and the ammo is very cheap, he actually picked up 17,316 credits. He received 706 base XP, got 282 XP because this is a premium vehicle, so he took away 988 experience points altogether. And it was a bit of a last second win, because if that Grille had managed to make it into the cap area just a fraction of a second sooner, then he might have been able to fire that 15 centimeter shell into the side of Drifter, get a cap reset, get a defender medal into the process, and wipe Drifter out. And that would have just left the one tank at the other end, the Covenanter, who appeared to be an AFK. But as it was, Drifter did win the battle. He did get the Invader, and it was too late for the enemy, and he narrowly missed getting a Top Gun as well. If he'd had more ammunition, I'm sure he would have. And I think really my advice to Drifter would be to have a little more patience on the shots, to let it dial in more fully before you fire, because then the shell will go exactly where you want it to go and you'll get more kills that way. That's how you manage to get Radley Walters medals and ace tankers in the 105 leFH18B2. So if you enjoyed this replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, and hopefully it'll be your replay that I'll be featuring in the next video.